you just mentioned Danbury. We got to go to that. How did that all come about, meeting AJ and his dad, and how you ended up playing for that team for a couple of years?
That just prepared you for Russia. It was, it was calm before the storm here.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet there, to be honest. It was, or not quiet, sorry. I was young at the time, so I was still kind of like a young, quiet kid. And I just finished my first year in the East Coast, and it was the year of the lockout year, that 04-05. And I actually had a really good rookie season in the East Coast. I had like 300 and some minutes. I fought a lot. I don't think I really lost a fight that year. And I was actually supposed to go to camp with the Blackhawks. And so we're talking about that. Yeah, we went to Quebec first. So sorry, I got so many places I'm going here. But I was supposed to go to camp with the Blackhawks, but that year there was a lockout year. So I ended up going to Norfolk. And Norfolk wanted to sign me, but they wanted me to go play in Greenville. And I went to Greenville, and I fucking hated it. I was coming from Bakersfield, where it was kind of like Syracuse. Beautiful arena, tons of fans. They loved me there. I had a girlfriend from there now. And so when I went to Greenville, I hated it. And then I had this Quebec team call me and say, hey, we had drafted you in the first overall. And I'm thinking, who the fuck would draft me in the first overall? And the guy didn't even really speak English. And anyways, I was one of the top drafts in this Quebec league. And so they said, oh, well, we'll give you $2,000 a week and you don't pay for anything. So I thought, okay, well, I'm making like $600 a week in this Greenville. Well, I'm going to go to fucking there and make, $2,000 and make a lot of money and have fun. So that's why I went to Quebec, and I went to Quebec for a while, completely ran by the Hells Angels. And then I had broke my ankle. So then Danbury was calling me. So they ended up bringing me to Danbury because I wanted to get real good medical attention for my ankle. And so I ended up going to that's how I ended up in Danbury. And I told them, I said, well, I'm injured. And they said, no, you still come anyway. So I ended up going to Danbury. And you ever watch The Sopranos? I mean, that's exactly what it was. We'd go to these, I remember we'd go to like a dinner in New York City, and they'd come in the dressing room and they'd put a list up. They said, okay, we're going to this 5-star restaurant in New York. Who you bringing? And guys like Garrett Burnett would put like 2 strippers on there, and guys were bringing, and I mean, you're talking about like these were high class, expensive restaurants, and it was just a free for all. I mean, we did what we want. No one would fight us. I didn't really enjoy it because we had 6 or 7 heavyweights, and every other team had like 1. So we'd be playing paper, rock, scissors, and trying to get into a fight. And you guys know how much I like to fight, and I didn't really get to do that because there were so many of us. Right? We had Ruben Nadir, we had Garrett Burnett, Stephen Pete, Frank Bialois, the list goes on. So it wasn't really where we just bullied people.
Had any of that, the stuff towards the end, were you there when that happened, or were you there during like the glory days aspect of it? Because when I
was there more during the glory days, because I know like they ended up subpoenaing a bunch of players, and I know Brent Gretzky was, I think, one of them. There was a few other guys, because guys were making it like, I mean, in the coast, you're supposed to make what, 30 to 40,000 a year. Yeah. And we were making anywhere from 200 to 500,000 a year, and we weren't paying for anything. And yeah, so it was quite we were living in New Fairfield, Connecticut, which is one of the richest counties in the U.S. And we were living in these houses, these cabins that we were supposed to be paying rent for, but we didn't pay rent for them. They were paid already. And then we were getting checks to pay the rent. So, I mean, that's all the money kind of just built up that way. Like it was different. I think on the books, I probably made like $300 a week, but my wife got a job working at the trashing company, where she had to call people if they had outdated bills, like if they had outstanding bills. All she had to call and say, hey, you have an outstanding, and she would get paid like $1,000 a week just to do that for the 2 hours that I was at practice. So yeah, it was. Holy shit. To be honest, I've watched that documentary and it doesn't even do it justice.
How cool, really?
It was way more wild than that. The documentary doesn't even explain how bad. Who
was the guy? Who was the guy with the cigar in the documentary? He was like the equipment manager, right?
That's T-Bone, yeah. Tommy Papacello, yeah.
T-Bone.